Ladies and gentlemen, would I lie to you? Absolutely, I likely already have, but not today. You may remember in our last video, golden syrup, how could you forget, it was fabulous, that I promised to make biscuits, not cookies, biscuits. And today is that day. Okay, so you said biscuits, not cookies. Wagwan, what's up with that? What's the difference? Well, for me, cookies are the American style biscuit. You know, they tend to be thicker, they're lovely and chewy, they're beautifully soft, and I adore them. I've made them. I've made the chocolate chip cookies, I've made the lemon white chocolate chip cookies. They're delicious. And what I'm going to be making today specifically are Hobnobs. They're a much loved favourite in the UK. And I will be making chocolate Hobnobs.
Right, first thing first, you can absolutely use vegan butter for this recipe. I did, and it worked perfectly. Place the sugar and butter into a bowl, then cream together until light and fluffy. Now I'm using my stand mixer with the paddle attachment, but you can just use a large bowl and a hand mixer. Once that's done, it's time for the golden syrup, which I hope you made yourselves, and mix that through. Next, add the oatmeal, the flour, baking soda and salt. If you're not using a stand mixer, just use a wooden spoon. The dough should come together quite quickly and easily, and as you can see here, when I clump it together in my hands, it forms little balls. This is what we want. Right, next, preheat your oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 160 degrees C, and grab a couple of lined baking trays, as we're going to be popping our biscuits into the oven as soon as they're shaped. And speaking of shaping our biscuits, you can either tip the dough onto a floured board, as I have here, and roll it out until it's 1/4 inch thick, which is around 6 millimeters. Then use a cookie cutter or a teacup or anything round, as I have, and just cut them out. Or you can form the dough into small balls, a little smaller than a golf ball size, and then just pop them onto your baking tray and flatten them out until, again, they're 1/4 inch thick. And just keep repeating this process of rolling your dough out, cutting it out into circles until all of your dough is finished. If you do have some excess dough that you don't want to bake right now, no worries. Just ball it up into some cling film and chuck it in the fridge. We're going to place them in our oven for about 13 to 16 minutes until they're lightly golden brown and almost totally firm to the touch. They are meant to be crunchy, remember, although the golden syrup will give them just the slightest chew, which is really lovely and synonymous with these wonderful biscuits. Once done, remove from the oven and let them cool on the trays for a couple of minutes, then pop them onto a cooling rack to cool completely.
Hey! Of course he's at the beach!
I know.
You're the only person that I've called so far in one of these videos that isn't sitting at home.
They just open the beaches.
Not wanting to judge a book by its cover, but you don't strike me as a home baker type. So after we do this video, maybe you'll be able to share this video with your mum and make biscuits together for Mother's Day. How does that sound?
Yep, definitely the golden syrup too. That looks awesome.
I'm going to leave you to do your thing and just be young and single and sexy down at the beach.
Let's go.
All right, mate. Lots of love, brother. I'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
See you, mate.
What a complete king. Now, if you want chocolate hobnobs, and we certainly do, you'll need to melt some chocolate. Now, I'm going to use a semi-sweet chocolate. It's around 45%, but you can use whatever you like. Now, you want to melt this in a heat-resistant bowl over simmering water, making sure that the bowl doesn't touch the water. Now, you can temper the chocolate if you like, but I didn't bother. There are videos on how to do that, but again, I didn't bother. But what I did do was melt 2/3 of my chocolate until it had just melted, and then I removed it from the heat, and then immediately added the remaining third, and then I stirred that through. This is very basic tempering and meant that my chocolate kept its wonderful shine, as you can see here. Next up, you are going to paint your biscuits with melted chocolate. So grab your pastry brush, it's time for the return of this bizarre little character, and get them done. And don't they look scrumptious?
Wicked, okay, hobnobs are complete. Chocolate hobnobs at that, and they've turned out beautifully. I hope you give them a try, and as always, the recipe and method is posted in the description below. I will see you on another Bakes and Bants very soon. Cheers.